Hi guys, this is Miss Judd, and I just wanted to do a little quick lesson with you on poetry. I know that this poetry stuff is very unfamiliar because typically we do a lot of our focus on poetry during the month of April, and unfortunately we had to leave school in March, so we didn't get to poetry. So I'm going to start out by introducing to you the elements of poetry. Now, poetry consists of meter, rhyme, repetition, line, stanza, theme, and mood. And you may have just listened to all of those words and think, what in the world do those words mean? So we're going to kind of go over it together and figure out what each of those words mean. Now, probably the word that I just said that you recognize the most was the word rhyme. And we've learned about rhyming since you guys have been in kindergarten. That's what you begin to learn when you start reading words that rhyme. And we know words that rhyme have the same ending sound. And oftentimes when you hear the word poetry, you think of sentences that rhyme. And that is true, but that's not necessarily all of poetry. Only some poetry rhyme. So rhyme is when, for instance, you have words at the end of a line that rhyme with each other. So in this line, we have the word mutt, and in this line, we have the word nut. Mutt and nut both end with UT. They have the same ending sound. So that is an example of rhyme in poetry. So we're going to move this word right here because that is demonstrating rhyme. Now, you will notice that this poem here, when you look at it, it looks like it is written into two different paragraphs. But in poetry, we do not refer to them as paragraphs. And you see here, whoops, you see here that we have two paragraphs. But in poetry, we are going to call those stanzas. So in poetry, another word for paragraph is the word stanza. And that is a group of usually 4 lines that are grouped together that kind of go together in some form in the poem. All right. Now, inside the stanza is usually made up of 4 lines, like I just said. So you see these arrows pointed here to these lines. So we're going to call this the lines of the poem. Okay. And then we also have, I want to actually move stanza down here because this right here, you see these arrows pointing to these words. So this poem, I'm going to go ahead and read this poem to you. The title's My Dog. It says, my puppy isn't pretty. He's really just a mutt. But every time we play, I just love that little nut. My puppy isn't pretty. He's spotted in a weird way. But every time we snuggle, I know I'll love him always. So you'll notice that each of those stanzas begins with this very same sentence, my puppy isn't pretty. We refer to this in poetry as repetition. And sometimes poets will use repetition to kind of prove their point and to emphasize something. And in this case, it's really the main idea of the poem, my puppy isn't pretty. Okay. And then down here, the feeling the author is trying to convey. I want you to think about that a minute. Out of the 3 words we have left over here, mood, theme, and meter, which one of those do you think would be a feeling that the author's trying to make you convey or the author's trying to make you feel? Well, if you guessed mood, you were correct. So we know that when we are having different feelings inside, we may sometimes say, I'm in a good mood or I'm in a bad mood. Those have to do with our feelings. And that's what poetry is. Poetry is a type of writing that tries to provoke feeling. Okay, the next one, the author's message or lesson to be learned. Now, this is similar to stuff that we learn in reading. When we read a book, we talk about the theme or the central message. What kind of lesson is the author trying to teach you? So, theme is going to be the same in our regular reading class as it is in poetry. And then the rhythm of the poem. So I know all of you have listened to Dr. Seuss books, and they have kind of a rhythm, like almost kind of like a music, like a da 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 da. It has a beat to it. We refer to that as meter. Now, I want you to listen as I read this poem again. My puppy isn't pretty. He's really just a mutt. But every time we play, I just love that little nut. You hear that same rhythm in every stanza. So we refer to the rhythm of the poem as meter. Now, once you look at the poem, we also have to talk about the rhyming pattern of the poem. Now, you will come across some poems that do not rhyme at all. But then you're going to run across some poems that do rhyme. And there is a way to name that rhyming scheme. Okay? And it's very simple. We just use letters of the alphabet, usually the letters A through D. And here, let's look at this example. Before we go ahead and identify the rhyming scheme of this next poem, let's look at the example. So the title is The Cat. My cat is my best friend. I'll love her to the end. If I'm upstairs or down, she follows me around. So the way that we identify this rhyming scheme, we're going to look at the last word of each line in the poem. So in my first line, my last word is friend. All right, and then I'm going to look at the last word of the next line, and end. And I'm going to ask myself, do friend and end rhyme? Yes, they do rhyme. So I'm going to give those lines, I'm going to assign them the same letter, A and A, because they rhyme with each other. Now, I'm going to look at the last word in the next line, down. And I'm going to ask myself, okay, does down rhyme with friend and end? No, down does not rhyme with friend and end. So I'm going to give it a new letter, which is the letter B. Okay, now I'm going to look at the last word in this line, around. I'm going to ask myself, does around rhyme with friend and end? No, it doesn't rhyme with friend and end. But does around and down rhyme? Yes, they do. So I'm going to assign a B to that line because it rhymes with this line. So lines that rhyme are going to have the same letter. So we're going to try this on our own a few times. Okay, so the next poem is The Game. So popcorn and peanuts and gallons of Coke, yelling so loudly my throat is now hoarse. Bases are loaded, cheers from the folks. Crack goes the bat, a home run, of course. All right, so we're going to look at the last word in each line. So on this first line, since it's the first line, what letter do you think we're automatically going to give it? Well, of course, the first letter of the alphabet. We're going to automatically assign the letter A to this line. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the last word in this line. Does horse rhyme with Coke? No, those words don't sound anything alike. So since I put a letter A here, and this word and this word do not rhyme, I need to give this line a brand new letter. So I'm going to give it the letter B. Okay, now I'm going to look at the last word in this line, folks. Does folks rhyme with Coke? Oh, it sounds very similar, doesn't it? So I'm going to give the same letter that matches with this line to this line. So I'm going to put an A right here. All right, and then I'm going to look at the last letter, or I'm sorry, the last word in this line. Excuse me. And this word is course. And I'm going to ask myself, does course rhyme with Coke? No, those words don't sound alike. Does course rhyme with horse? Oh, those do. Those sound alike. Now, you'll notice that these words are not spelled alike at the end, but they make the same sound. The spelling does not matter. What matters is that they make the same sound. So, course and horse rhyme. So, what letter do you think I'm going to give to that line? That's right. I'm going to give it a letter B so that it matches. All right, so if I were asked what the rhyming scheme of this poem was, I would respond that this poem has an A-B rhyming scheme. Okay? Now, if you compare it to our poem up here had an A-B rhyming scheme. So that's how you can differentiate those. We're going to practice this on a few more poems. All right, the mouse, creeping under boxes, looking for a bite, hoping not to be noticed, running out of sight. So we're going to look at the last word in each line. So the first line is automatically going to get my letter A because we don't have anything to compare it to. All right, now I look at this word, bite. Does bite rhyme with boxes? Nope, they don't rhyme, so I'm going to give the next letter to this line. A and B. Now, I'm going to look at noticed. Does noticed rhyme with boxes? No, doesn't rhyme with boxes. Does noticed rhyme with bite? No, those two don't rhyme either. So I can't give this line an A or a B, so I'm going to have to give it a brand new letter, which is a C. And then I'm going to look at the, oh, my C went away. Technical difficulties. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to look at this last word, sight. Does sight rhyme with boxes? No. Does sight rhyme with bite? Yep. So I'm going to look over here and I see that B is with bite. So I'm also going to give the letter B to the word sight. So the rhyming scheme of this poem, is A, B, C, B. All right, looking at this next poem, I want to eat some pizza. Not just a slice or two. I'm hungry as a giant. A whole pizza just might do. So I'm going to give this first line the letter A automatically. All right, and then I'm going to look at the word two. Does two and pizza rhyme? Nope, they don't rhyme, so I'm going to give it a B. All right, and I'll look at this one, giant. Does giant and pizza rhyme? Nope. What about giant and two? Nope. So I'm going to have to give this one a brand new letter, so I'm going to give it a C. And then I look here. Does the word do and pizza rhyme? Nope. What about do and two? Oh, yeah, those two rhyme. So I'm going to look here. Oh, oops. I'm going to look here, and I'm going to give it the same letter, which is a B. So my rhyming scheme on this poem is A, B, C, B. Last poem. My brother. Mom's having a new baby. It's a boy, and that's not maybe. Can't wait till we can play, maybe on the first day. All right, so first line automatically gets the letter A. All right, now I'm going to look at this next one. Maybe. Does maybe and baby rhyme? Yep, they sure do. So I'm going to give the second line an A as well. Then I'll look at this last letter, play, or last word, play. Does play and baby rhyme? Nope. What about play and maybe? Nope. So I'm going to give play its new letter, which is a B, because it doesn't rhyme with anything I've looked at so far. All right, now I'm going to look at this last line, day. Does day rhyme with baby or maybe? No. What about day and play? Yep, those two rhyme. So it's going to get a B as well. So the rhyming scheme of this poem is AABB. All right, so that was just a quick little crash course on poetry to help you understand the new terminology a little bit better and to help you to be able to figure out the rhyming scheme of a poem. So I hope this helped to make it a little bit clear. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to message or call me anytime you need my help. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.